Hello and welcome to the Race to Alaska podcast. I'm Jesse the Race Boss. I am your host, and we're just over a month away from race start here in Port Townsend on June 14th, where we will see a field of 72, repeat, 72 teams launching off. That's over 200 human animals launching out of Port Townsend Bay, headed for Victoria on the proving ground. We'll see what happens. Let's talk about this year's side bets. Side bets, what are they? They are unofficial/official prizes handed out as, superlatives, celebrations of greatness in various ways. These are not prizes given by high command. Instead, they are handed out by supporters, by those with some skin in the game who want to make it a little more spicy. This year we have 3 side bets. The first is the traditional, brought to you by Small Craft Advisor, the Under 20 Award. That prize comes with $1,000 from Small Craft Advisor, as well as a set of tactical sporks from Turnpoint Design here in Port Townsend. Side bet number 2, the Oracle Blister Prize, to the first team arriving in Ketchikan under human power alone. 17 contenders for this award this year. That also comes with $1,000, but this $1,000 is Canadian, so it's worth less. And it also comes as loonies in a bag that weighs around 18 pounds. The last side bet this year also comes from Team Oracle, who sponsors the Blister Prize. That is brand new and will only be awarded once. It is the Hecate Solo Star Award. This is going to be awarded to the first female solo finisher in Race to Alaska history. We have 4 contenders for this prize this year. That prize is being crowdfunded. And if you want to contribute to that pot, email me at raceboss@r2ak.com and I will hook you up with the right people. It's now time for the interviews and the first team this week. You know them, you love them. They won the Muscle Group division of Washington 360 last year. It's the one and only Team Boogie Barge.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, there. I can see and hear you both. Oh, Taylor's coming in now too.
So this is funny. They don't know Craig yet.
Oh, really?
We had a team change.
I can probably say I'm officially in, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, man. I think you stayed for the podcast, Craig.
Wow, we hear it here first. This is amazing.
Ian, this is Craig.
Hi, Craig.
Hi, Kieran.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
Oh, I'm so excited. We have this great big reveal for the podcast. This is amazing.
Yeah, Craig just came over for a second to
it's
see
official,
what it was going to look like. And we just an hour ago, we hadn't even talked about anything. So, well, we talked about maybe doing the race, but we hadn't talked about meeting up today. So it's official. So official. Definitely.
I think I'm going to break my rule. I think we should keep the camera on so you guys can get a chance to get to know each other.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. It's only going to be several weeks more.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we got to go straight to the new guy. All right. What are you getting yourself into here?
Oh, I have no idea. No, it sounds like some excitement. Sounds like a bunch of pedaling and a pretty fun race.
And these things appeal to you?
I mean, I'm into bicycling, mountaineering, sea kayaking, all that stuff. And yeah, sounds like a pretty amazing race. Amazing adventure to be a part of.
Awesome. Well, look forward to talking to you on the other side of it as well.
Yeah.
All right. And then you three, Blake and Taylor, this is, you're coming back at this again. You're getting back on this vessel. And what what are you excited about for Race to Alaska 2026?
I can start, sure. I mean, I think no one really thought we were going to make it in 2024. And I think you can't ever go into this race knowing for certain you're going to make it, but it feels really great that I think we have like a reasonable chance of making it and making it in some pretty good time if everything goes our way and we have learned enough from past failures. But of course, anything can happen. So it's exciting. And I coming into this, it takes a lot of family support. Greg and I both have kids, and it's a lot to ask to go do something like this. And when I talked to my wife about it in September or whatever, I was ready to not do it too. But I'm really excited that we get to give it another go and try to do this thing we've been working on for arguably 10 years to get to this point. So,
Well, let's go back a little bit. Let's talk about the origin story of this vessel because it's kind of a cool thing that you've built there, you guys.
yeah, it's a shame that Josh, he just recently had to bail. He has welded a lot of the parts for the boat, and we've been working on, so many iterations of so many different systems. The first time I saw the race happening in 2015, I was pretty sure that this was going to be part of my goal for the future. And I really, really like long distance pedaling. And I really, really love the ocean and sea kayaking and traveling long distances. And so this has always been a big goal. And like anything, it takes about 10 years longer when you think it should take about 1 or 2 years to figure out how to do it. It's a huge endeavor to put all the pieces together. So we've been through 3 or 4 sets of hulls for the boat. At least that many iterations of pedal drives and at least 3 different approaches to sleeping systems. And that is definitely what makes us different, is the sleeping system.
To go back to the what are we excited about? I'm really excited. I think Blake described the first Race to Alaska attempt as crouching to Alaska because the the yeah, sleeping it wasn't great. We were kind of in pop-up tents and they mostly didn't get popped up and it was a lot of just sort of like crouching on a platform, and we now have uh sleeping coffins. We have nice three-dimensional boxes you can get down in and get out of the weather and like nap during the daytime. So that's a game changer.
Absolutely.
If you'd given that to us in Johnstone Strait in 2024, we would have been a lot happier. So, yeah.
But you're still friends.
Yeah.
You made it. You're going to do it again.
Oh, yeah.
What other things have changed since the last attempt?
Well, a lot of teams have used the sort of ST-1000 Raymarine, what is it called? Autopilots. But we're kind of the weirdest version of that. I think some Angus road cruisers have used them in the past too. But it is you're oftentimes pointing at a straight line for a very long time. So it's pretty cool to have an autopilot that runs on a 12-volt battery that your solar panel charges and stuff like that. But what has changed is that you need to just be able to pop that thing off and grab a lever and steer normally, because it turns out those things are not very waterproof, which is just insane to me that they are not waterproof. So that's another big change, is that I haven't done it yet, but it's going to be pretty easy just to like put a lever in there so you can steer really, really easily. The hulls are much smoother now. I spent like 4 days sanding them and putting nice paint on them and stuff. And after talking to some teams in Port Townsend about what might speed our boat up, Turnpoint Designs, Brandon up there was like, I think you probably have too much wetted surface in the water for the Race to Alaska. You do not need 28-foot hulls for what you're doing. And so making them marginally slipperier is hopefully going to make a difference, but we may never know how much difference that makes. And then I think we're going to carry more safety gear this year too. Maybe we'll all get personal locator beacons. And I think Jesse was pretty glad to see we got pretty scared out there last year. And I think he was pretty happy to see that we experienced the appropriate levels of terror to make this year a lot more reasonable. 2 marine radios too, because if one breaks, you absolutely want another one.
100%. Yeah, no, that sounds really good. I was having a look at your Instagram account, and it looks like the vessel might have started being built in 2020. Was this a COVID project?
One of the mini rebuilds was then, but it was
Right.
happening before then too. Yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, that was maybe sort of peaked in the rebuild phase then. My students were working on it in the shop for whole years before that too.
Oh, that's amazing. So you have a sort of cohorts of students cheering you guys on now.
Yeah, a few of them. Yeah.
So, Ken, what are you looking forward to in the trip?
Yeah, I think Blake alluded to the hope that kind of everything could go our way for this time. And I feel like for Race to Alaska in 2024, it was kind of a case of a lot of things didn't go our way. Like within the first, obviously on during the proving grounds, the boat broke. On the first day of the second stage of the race, one of our crew members, Josh, got ill. And then there was just kind of like, it was just kind of one thing after another. It was really difficult to sleep. So it would be great if I think kind of in the ideal of the Boogie Barge is kind of this perpetual motion machine that is just constantly moving forward. And I feel like we haven't really had the opportunity yet to really see that in action. So I think if everything went our way and everything went great, it would be awesome to just have the Boogie Barge going 24/7, having us getting sleep in kind of our 4 on, 2 off or 2 on, 2 off cycle, and just to kind of churn through the miles day after day. Because I feel like we've had little glimpses of that both in WA 360 and in Race to Alaska, but we really haven't like put all the pieces together for like a week straight. And I think it would be really awesome to see that happen, kind of see Boogie Barge at its full potential. A lot of things would have to go our way for that to happen, but it would be awesome if it did.
Very well said. That's why we're doing this. Yeah.
And then also, I mean, we only made it 1/3 of the way in 2024, so there's 2/3 of the course, and like that first third of the course, absolutely gorgeous. We don't know what the final 2/3 of the race looks like, and we got to figure out, we got to get out there and actually see what's probably the most spectacular part of the race. So looking forward to that whole second half of the race, and I'm not entirely sure even
I
what it
mean,
has in store for
the
us,
holes are
but
all
I'm
storage. I
excited to
think we
find
learned
out.
from WA
Yeah, you
360
perfectly answered my
and
next question, which
our
was,
first
for
round in
those people who are
2024
listening who
that
maybe didn't
freeze-dried
follow the
camping meals
2024
are very
race,
popular.
I wanted to
Went
know
through a lot of
where you'd
those.
had to hop off before
Bagels, a lot of
have you
love for the
traveled,
bagels.
obviously not within the race,
But
but have you
yeah,
traveled further in
maybe
those waters, any of
some
you,
powders and gels as
in the
well for
past?
the endurance
Yeah, we quit
athletes.
in Telegraph Cove, which was hard. We definitely had more in the tank. But I think, if we'd had a few more days, we could have built some quick boxes and got back on the water and made some really good time. But we didn't have enough time to make it and make it with our like work schedules and stuff like that. So we quit in Telegraph Cove, which was definitely felt early. I think it was only 6 days or something, 5 or 6 days, I think, last time. I've paddled at Calvert Island and Cape Caution before, but never been in Grenville Channel and never been to Alaska. Lots of new stuff to learn about up there that my parents have kayaked and I never got a chance to yet.
What's the return plan for the boat?
I think Alaska Marine Lines will ship it, or what's it? It starts with an L, Linden or something. I don't know. A
Something like
barge can
that.
take it all the way back. I need to call them and figure out like what sort of like cradle it should be on, and if we need to disassemble it, or if it like is a lot cheaper to make it less than 8 feet wide or something like that. But kind of wondering if they'll just like we drop it in a yard and they just pick it up with a crane and put it on a barge and take it back to Tacoma and then put it on my trailer here. And I think it's about $1,500, $1,800 or something like that to do that. But I might be wrong. I got to figure that out. And if it's a lot more than that, then my family is coming up on the ferry and we can tow a trailer and bring it all the way back on a trailer too.
They don't want to do a family trip biking back down on the vessel?
It was a tough sell. Tough sell.
So great. So what kind of storage space do you have for food? What are you going to be packing along for nutrition?
I mean, the holes are all storage. I think we learned from WA 360 and our first round in 2024 that freeze-dried camping meals are very popular. Went through a lot of those. Bagels, a lot of love for the bagels. But yeah, maybe some powders and gels as well for the endurance athletes.
I've definitely overinvested in the powders in the past, and some people might have made fun of me for that, and they were right. We don't need that many powders and gels for the potions of this race. Yeah.
think we found that we burn through food a lot quicker than we anticipate, so we may have to do some more advanced calculations to figure out exactly how many freeze-dried meals and how many bagels we need to bring.
You're going to be burning calories as you go, right?
Yeah, it's a lot of time on the pedals.
Yeah. So it's what, like 6 weeks away now, 7 weeks away or so? Are we right? I got my math right?
I'm sure you're right.
It's something like that. I'm just pulling that out of the air. I think we're about there. What's on the last to-do list for you guys? When do you descend on Port Townsend?
The boat needs to be assembled. We're still welding the cross beams.
Awesome.
Josh is going to finish the welding for us, and he's in Hawaii right now. So hopefully he comes back in the next weekend and finishes the beams, and we can assemble the boat. So I'm just making components of the boat a little bit smoother and more waterproof now, and then we'll put them all together and hopefully get to go for a good spin out on the water or two before 7048. And then we got to switch the boat to the 7048 mode for the four bikers, 2 rowers. Wait, I'm the only one that's doing that here. Isn't that true? That's true. Yeah. We got a team of adventure racers from Oregon that are coming up. The Bend Racing folks are coming back to do 7048 this year. And then I think we got like 2 weeks between the races, 2 weeks or so. So we'll
Something
just
like that.
take off the central bike and put on the other bike and the coffins for the race to Alaska.
Oh, that's great. So you get a chance to sort of try things out and see what systems are working and not. And
Yeah, hopefully enough.
yeah, that's great. So Craig, what do you think of all of this?
It sounds, I don't know. Like I said, it just sounds like a pretty fun adventure. It sounds like mechanical issues or just like things breaking all around on this whole race on any number of vessels. It sounds like having the ability to fix and repair and kind of overcome all that. Like there's just so many obstacles, so many challenges you got to be able to handle and withstand and have the capacity to do that and safety, being safety minded,
Yeah, if it's
not
not
just
clear,
jumping
Kian and I
out
are
in
absolutely
weather
useless
and
except
just
as pedal
having
pushers.
that
So it's good to have
all
Craig
the
joining
skill
with some
sets and the talents
mechanical
that
and seafaring
it
know-how.
would take to get to Alaska on this this vessel excite me. That's a good
You
enough
sound
answer.
perfect.
We're gonna miss Josh for sure, but Craig's got a lot of the right skill set
I think
to
I
fill
called
in some
myself
of the
chief
holes
safety
from
officer,
Josh
which
in terms of mechanical and electrical systems, and with some good seagoing experience as well. I can already tell there's going to be a good dynamic. I think Craig and Taylor are going to make all of the decisions probably. Keaton's just going to be back there pedaling and listening to AM radio. And I'm just going to be listening to all the tiny noises that the boat makes and making sure that I brought all the right Allen wrenches. So.
yeah, if it's not clear, Kian and I are absolutely useless except as pedal pushers. So it's good to have Craig joining with some mechanical and seafaring know-how.
Taylor's got a fair bit of navigational experience, and also it's a really good sort of team. I don't know if we used the term safety advisor in the past, but just
I think I called myself chief safety officer, which
I have too many horses in the race. I just need to not be involved in those decisions. So.
Well, I am really excited to watch you guys campaign this year. You've iterated and grown over the years and, really like put so much heart and soul into this vessel, into the race. And it's just going to be great to see, how it all plays out. And I hope it's a great race for you all. And yeah, cheers to Josh for all the hard work getting this far. And I'm sorry he's not racing too, but welcome aboard, Craig.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Boogie Barge is back. Let's hope they make it all the way this year. Next up is one of the teams that is contending for that Under 20 award. Team Kostamo is on a Bay Raider 20. Here they are interviewed by the notorious Nate Rooks.
Well, guys, why don't we just jump right into it? I'm really glad to see you guys. For anybody who doesn't know, my name is Nate Rooks. My brother and I did Race to Alaska in 2016, 10 years ago now, which is crazy, but we were Team Bunny Whaler. in a boat, which doesn't seem too dissimilar from what you guys are going to be in. We'll see. But why don't you go ahead and introduce yourselves and what your team is and what's your elevator pitch? I remember that people would, when R2AK was coming up, we'd be talking to people and we kind of had, our little snippets. And I'm wondering when somebody asks you what you're doing this summer, what's your pitch?
Well, I'm turning 50. So this is my 50th birthday party. That's my
Awesome.
elevator pitch. So June 9th is my birthday, and we're from Finnish background. So in Finland, 50 is kind of like the big birthday. And so when I was thinking what to do, a little over a year and a half, somehow R2AK came across my radar. I think I watched the movie or somehow, and I thought, man, I gotta do an epic adventure for my 50th birthday. And I said, this looks like an epic adventure. And so I looped in my daughter Sophia, I looped in my cousin Marku, and they were both keen, and here we are.
Wow. So how long have you been aware of Race to Alaska before now jumping into it?
I think just about a year.
Wow. Exciting. So what either and Marku, feel free to jump in on this too. What boating background made you think taking an open, small 20-foot boat from Port Townsend to Ketchikan was a good idea?
I'll let Marku answer that one because he's done lots.
Well, I was so grateful that Tim decided to buy a bigger boat than mine. So we first talked about using my 15-foot wooden boat,
Oh, yeah.
and I've had it through some storms and some rough seas, but nothing like what we're going to see on the R2AK. So I'm just deeply grateful we have such a seaworthy vessel. It's actually a pretty good deal. It's 19 and a half feet. It has a water ballast, uh, three sails. She sails at a good 6 knots, rows at a good 3 to 4 knots, with two people rowing. So very seaworthy.
Tell us what it is. What is your boat?
Oh, so we've got a Bay Raider 20. So it's from Swallow Yachts in the
Hmm.
UK.
Hmm.
And so it's kind of incorporated all the design features of nasty British weather sailing. Also, they've got massive tides there, so a lot of their boats are designed to go dry, to stay flat. So you can beach it and it'll be flat. It won't tip over, because a lot of their tidal streams and rivers, well, the boats will dry out on the mud flats. Very kind of a mix of classic design and modern features. So the kick-up rudder, kick-up centerboard, which I think adds a lot of safety factor when you're going at night. The hitting logs should not hopefully cause too much damage. The two masts, it's great because if you hit, like we were out on our first test sail actually just last weekend. we're we're
I was going to
prepared.
ask how much experience you had with the boat, but that answers it.
We have 3 days of experience with the boat so far. I mean, we've got years of sailing experience, but with this boat, we there's no minute like the last minute. But and we hit quite heavy wind, and some of the ropes still need to be replaced. And we snapped one of the main ropes holding the top of the mainsail, and you can very quickly drop the mainsail, and you still have the mizzen and the jib as a balanced rig. And so it's a really neat boat that way.
That's a really great setup to have. It was because again, our boat was only 3 feet shorter than yours, but it was just kind of a huge main and a medium jib, and it would have having a mizzen would have made all the difference in some of the situations where we couldn't really just get head to wind. Those kind of boats don't really heave to very well, but yours does. So it's pretty new to you guys. Tell me a story or two that made you think, because being on an open boat in some of these places is really scary. And honestly, I did this as kind of my 30th birthday thing. And I loved that you were saying, Tim, that yours was your 50th, because our dear friends who we text every day, we met through Race to Alaska, and it was their 40th birthday thing. Now I've met someone with 50, and I also know somebody who finished and it was his 80th birthday kind of reach goal. So this
Amazing.
you could
Wow.
be doing this every 10 years. But so what kind of sailing made you think that being in heavy weather in an open boat is fun?
Well, I can go first. I've been sailing and doing, mucking about in boats, in the Gulf Islands, San Juans, and on the west coast of Vancouver Island for 30 years. So lots of coastal navigation, lots of sea kayaking, lots of play boating and in big waves, landing on beaches. So, and then a lot of sailing and like bigger vessels, bigger, up to 30-foot typical yacht sailing. But really got passionate about small boat open cruising a couple of years ago and bought my wooden boat.
What is that? What is your boat?
It's a hand-built cedar strip, kind of on a East Coast Maine design, kind of a
Cool.
surf boat. It's made to go in and out of the surf.
Fun.
And then he modified it and added a sail. So it's got a gaff rig on it. Yeah. So, and then I've also been doing some other, in groups, doing open boats with groups of up to, 12 people in a boat that are all rowing or sailing.
Wow.
But Tim's boat, it's amazing. He found such a good deal. It's just, I love it. It's like I was on it for 3 days and I just fell in love. I just kept saying, man, she sails so well. And then Sophia would always look at me and go, oh, thank you. She rows so well. I go, no, actually, now I'm talking about you, Sophia.
So lots of good open boat experience, and you know kind of what the Inside Passage has. I mean, yeah, I thought I knew. It still had some total curveballs, which was really exciting. But it sounds like it's a boat that's set up for it, that it can hand you. You believe it can handle it.
Yeah, I think so. And my inspiration was my wife and I walk and run the seawall in Vancouver. And
Mhm.
there's a plaque on a pier there where two guys sailed to Hawaii from that place in a log. Like in a they dug out a log
Yeah,
and sailed it like the classic First Nations indigenous, like, and they took a log and went to Hawaii. And I think, you know what? If these guys can get to Hawaii in a log, we can get to Alaska in, a very well set up Swallow Bay Raider 20, that's got all kind of the modern bells and whistles, let alone the modern navigation aids, which are
right.
I've read probably hundreds of nautical books. I love reading nautical books as my escape. And you read about the Polynesian sailors and their feats of seamanship, and you read about the Captain Cook and Captain Vancouver on these shores, and let alone the Haida people would go up and down this coast in the same thing in a dugout log. And I'm like, hey, it's doable, it's possible, and should be great fun.
And Nate, when things get a little rough out there, what Finns do is they just point the boat to shore, anchor offshore, and then they set up their sauna.
Yeah,
Um,
perfect.
we just set it up, the traveling sauna, and works well.
Awesome. I was interested. You were talking. What's your sleeping plan? That was a question I had because you were talking about that these English boats are made to be on the flats. There isn't a whole lot of sandy beach up the Inside Passage. So what's your sleeping plan with three people on a 19 and a half foot boat?
On our test run, I slept on board, and Marco and Sophia tented on shore. And I
Hmm.
think most nights we'll sleep on shore and we'll anchor out. And we use the anchor buddy system where you can,
Mhm.
easily pull it back and forth. And so it can sleep too in the front, kind of with this little tent over it. So, and during our nighttime sails, when we have to use the current to get north, we could have one person on watch and two people kind of jammed in sleeping. But I think most of the nights we'll properly camp out on shore. It doesn't have to go, on a beach. We can easily just anchor out as well. So
Yeah,
I think
right.
that's probably mostly what we'll be doing realistically.
Nice.
It has a little bit of cover under like on the bow, and then there's a dodger that.
Yeah, I've seen the Dodger looks awesome on those. Cool. Can we get Sophia in here? I know that she won't be able to fend for herself what her uncle and her dad have to say about her, but what is Sophia's part in this? People would always ask my brother and I, who's going to kill the other one first? And we were like, this is the only person I would do this with. I would kill anybody else. What's the vibe with you three? What does Sophia bring to the team? Give me some of the family stuff.
Well, I think I'm really blessed because I have four daughters, and Sophia is my oldest daughter, and she's just really game for adventure. And
Mm,
her and I just climbed Cotopaxi in Ecuador together, which is a almost 6,000-meter mountain.
wow.
And we've traveled quite a bit together. And she's just super fun because I'll say, "Hey, Sophia, you want to do this crazy thing?" And she'd be like, "Yeah, let's do it." And she's really strong. She's got a really positive mindset. She's got a great positive energy. She loves being out in nature and just really comes alive out in nature. So she's a real delight, and I consider it a real delight to be able to do this with her. And so yeah, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, and I just spending the three. I mean, I've known her for a long time, but not haven't done any adventures with her. But this, except for this 3 days that we did together, and it was so fun. She's so positive, and she's actually very fit. So she's up for hard work. So that's good. Kind of makes up for, us oldies. So
What's your goal? What are your goals for the race? That's really the question I'm going for.
I would love to get all the way to Ketchikan. We have we have a little bit of a set time in the sense that I'm on call and operating July 6th. So we
Wow.
have people say don't make plans, but I have a hard stop. But that's, a fair amount of time. I think we want to also do it as a joy, and if it's truly, and there's that kind of fine line between a sufferfest that's then becomes a fond memory,
Mm.
or just a pure sufferfest, and we'll see whether we hit that or not. And I think we've got a big tolerance for conditions not being fantastic and still enjoying ourselves. And we'll see if we hit the wall in terms of saying, "Hey, this is now a pure sufferfest, and we're out," or something happens. It's something breaks, something goes wrong. It's there's a lot of things that can happen.
I want to make sure I get to use my dry suit. I'm spending 2 days.
I don't think that'll be a problem. I think we'll have lots of time in the dry suit.
Okay.
Yeah, that's up to you.
Yeah, especially going north of the Broughtons there, that section before the inside passage, that could be a bit rough.
It can be. We hold up in Telegraph Cove, kind of wondering if we were going to continue.
Mm.
And we met up with some other teams and we all kind of rallied each other and said, well, you're like, we're going to sleep every night and we're going to not go when it's crazy and we're going to be really restrained. And we left and got out around Malcolm Island and it was like 20-foot swells coming all the way down Queen Charlotte Sound. It wasn't the roughest we'd been in, but that is definitely I mean, Johnstone Strait can have its own whole challenges for everybody. We rode the entirety of Johnstone Strait. So like
Oh,
other
wow.
years, people are getting slammed. The difference of the years, I think, makes it really exciting because you can have a plan, but it might get thrown out. But it does get really big after there. Have either of you spent any time past Vancouver Island before?
I haven't. No.
I've gone around the north tip,
Oh,
around
great.
Cape Scott and around the west coast in like a 30-foot sailboat, and I've gone the southern way too, around the south tip
Oh,
to
beautiful.
from Victoria around up towards Port Renfrew. But yeah, we actually turned back on that trip though because we hit big weather, and I was in a little old gaff-rigged sailboat that couldn't go to windward to save your life, and so we had to turn around. But yeah, it should be good fun. And what advice would you give since you've done it kind of a similar boat? I liked what you just said about the, sleep every night and be reasonable about it.
A week in, we were amazed at how much energy we had spent. And
Mm,
we were in a huge deficit. We found it really hard to eat enough and to sleep enough. And we were kind of trying to race for a weekend because that year there was a 20-foot and under prize. Um, so we were kind of pushing it. And so after that, it was that doing this in a small boat is an extra large challenge. When everybody would ask us what we would do if we did it again, we just said have a cabin because you don't have a choice. I know you guys are saying you have a Dodger, which will be great, and there is a little cuddy cabin, but you're so exposed out there for both the sun, and once we got past Vancouver Island, it was pretty much just rain. And it seemed like if you've climbed a 6,000-meter peak, you understand limits. You understand these physical challenges, and the biggest thing would be try to understand your limits. We were pretty young at the time, and I would say it taught us those limits before we really respected them. So a great sailing adage that we always use and said to each other a lot on this was the best time to reef is the first time you think about it. And that was kind of the approach, I think, in a small boat is the first time you think that you need to be a little safer, you need to be a lot safer because it can get scary really fast. But I also thought that going up the inside passage, being in a small boat makes people more excited to meet you. You're not on a big yacht kind of hidden away from them. They want to hear what the story is. They want to help. So I think your boat it's a lot better than ours. Having water ballast is a pretty great thing. Have you done a capsize test in it? That was one on my list.
Not yet.
No, we have not.
Okay.
We've watched the videos on the capsize test, but haven't
Oh.
done it ourselves. Yeah.
Great.
It's designed to be, self-righting from basically a knockdown event, and then even without the water ballast, and then
Great.
with the water ballast, it adds a lot of. And the reality is, with our gear, we're kind of going to have a certain amount of ballast as a baseline anyway, because we're going to have to, carry a certain amount of water and this and that. So
one of the things that I really appreciate about the Bay Raider is the amount of buoyancy it has.
Tons of good storage and buoyancy, and yeah.
That's a real positive.
But we'll send Sophia out in the boat and then get her leaning way over and holding off.
Yeah.
We'll make her do the capsize test.
Perfect. Let's do it right off Stanley Park, right in front of everybody so they can watch. But I mean, I say that because it's 10 years on, so they can't kick us out of the race now. But we didn't do a capsize test before we left. And I capsized the boat a few years later. And it would have been a really different situation if we had been in northern British Columbia. I would say that. So it might be worth doing once. But again, your boat also has some safety features that ours didn't.
Remind me, Nate, I did watch the video you guys made. That was so fun.
Thanks.
Remind me how many days it took you.
That's a great question. And at the Blazer party 2 years ago, they made a whole sheet of every time for the whole race to Alaska. And ours had both the slowest and the fastest, not our team. But our year was when the record was broken and they did it in 3 days and 20 hours on Mad Dog. I mean, that's one of the most amazing sailing performances I've ever heard of. And we did it exactly 20 days slower, 23 days and 20 hours. And so we finished an hour in front of the next person and a day in front of the next person. And those are the three slowest times. They haven't let R2AK take that long since then. So yeah, so about 3 weeks, which was on kind of we thought 2 to 3, but it was definitely on the longer version because we rode probably 2/3 of the whole thing. So
Wow, that's intense.
again, it's just one of those things where there's the huge wind years or that Mad Dog boat, they caught all the good wind. And then those slow boats, you can't do that thing where you just get over to it,
Yeah.
You kind of gotta be in it.
Like, what kind of sailing did you have?
Also a great question. Mine was mostly dinghy sailing. My brother was the real accomplished sailor. He had sailed to New Zealand and he had sailed around the Northwest a whole bunch. He had done inside and outside the island. So he had a lot. Honestly, R2AK probably doubled my sailing miles. I was like a day sailor.
Nice.
But it completely changed my life ever after. Like being in the Inside Passage is now my lifelong passion. I bought a big boat with a cabin and a wood stove because it was the opposite of the little boat. But the race was that formative. It's that good. And the coolest thing was that it felt like it kept getting better. Not only the scenery, because the scenery does get more out there, fewer people, more whales. I mean, once we left Vancouver Island, we saw whales every day. And it was just like, this is the best. So it made me want to do that for the rest of my life, just not in a way that felt like I was endangering my life quite so much. But that was a perfect time in my life to do it and then make better decisions.
Nice.
So I want to get back to you two. So you talked about Sophia. What's your guys' relationship? What's your boating history? What's it going to be like to do it with your brother?
Cousin, brother.
I'm sorry, cousin.
Close enough. Close enough. So, I mean, we are in some ways more like more like brothers than like distant cousins. And so, because I think we're a very adventurous group, known for a little bit of quirkiness, perhaps wildness. That just a delight in adventure and an outdoor adventure is sort of a characteristic of our family. And so that's kind of the theme that's present. And so I have, a lot of beautiful outdoor memories of Kostamo cousins doing kind of silly things in the, my cousins were living up in Prince George for a time, and they'd say, well, let's go fishing. And I said, great. And so they'd go to some lake that no one could get into because it was surrounded by swamp. And we'd take a chainsaw and cut a tree into the lake, and then that would form the bridge that you would go and drag then the canoe, and then so you could get into the lake and then go fishing. And then we'd sleep on the shore and light this huge fire to keep the bears away, and we'd eat the fish, and just like these kind of very, great outdoor adventures. So I think that's kind of our foundation in our family.
Sounds like good preparation. I mean, we never slept ashore because of the bears and the cougars. So good luck. I hope that goes well. Or just light a big fire, I guess, and then you guys will be fine. Sorry, Marco, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, I was just choking on what you just said there. That you never slept on shore because of the bears and cougars.
Yeah, well, also our boat didn't beach well.
I'm okay with the bears, just the cougars that kind of spook me a little bit. But I'll have my 18-inch Bowie knife and my bear spray in my tent, so we'll see what happens. I've already had my 50th birthday about 6 years ago, so Tim was always the younger, wilder cousin. Um, and I was always like, "Okay, guys, let's be safe now. Let's be safe." But in his wisdom, now that he's turning 50, he's become very safety conscious, I found out. It helps that he's bringing his daughter on the trip. He has a pact with his wife to keep his daughter safe. So I feel actually like we're doing really well, and we're going to be very well taken care of by Tim, our captain.
Yeah, I think that as life goes on, your risk tolerance changes. There's no doubt about it. And I no longer have any tolerance for foolishness. I'm
Mm,
not interested in doing anything that's foolish.
mm,
I'm interested in doing things that are exciting and somewhat on the edge, but I'm not interested in recklessness. And my career is putting people back together who've had bad accidents or whatever has happened. And so I certainly that sort of changed my approach to things. So I like to do things that are adventurous but not foolish. And maybe R2AK is a bit foolish, but I feel like there's always there's always a safety factor. You can always, say you hit a massive log and you got enough flotation, you put the dry suits on, you hang out, you wait for help, you try to get into shore or whatever. And I'm also a huge believer in being self-sufficient in the sense that you're not relying on somebody else to come and save you. And I think to do this race, I think that that's important. And I think that worst comes to worst, yeah, you get to the nearest shore, you hang out and you sort it out. So
yeah, I'm just a little preview is that when you guys finish the proving grounds and get to Victoria, they have the Victoria Coast Guard there, and they tell you nobody's coming to help you.
yeah.
So they give you some pretty amazing numbers on just on what it's like to try to patrol and help that large of a coast. And they actually are extremely helpful and amazing people, but the resources are limited, and you get stuck around Cape Caution. I mean, it's going to be a while till somebody comes and gets you. And I was wondering, you mentioned that it needs some new lines. Are you making any big modifications to your boat?
No, basically the only thing that's to be done is just to refresh some of the lines. The sails, the hull, everything is in really good condition. Just a few of the
Right.
lines that need a couple lines, a couple jam cleats. So not anything too wild.
A little bit of caulking.
What they call it. So, Marco, you mentioned a dry suit, which we saw as our number one safety element. Do you have anything else? If shit goes haywire, when you have your oh shit moment, what are some other things you're prepped for?
I've got a Garmin InReach, and then Tim's got lots of toys.
We're actually hoping to do this or planning to do this as also as a fundraiser for my hospital that I work at.
Wow.
And so they're sponsoring Burnaby Hospital is going to be adventuring along with us, and we're getting into some new operating rooms coming up soon, so we're trying to fill them with good equipment. But they're sponsoring us, and so we've got a hookup for a sat phone that someone's going to loan us,
Great.
and we'll have for sure all the standard safety equipment. And I think the ability to call even when you're in the middle of nowhere is always a good thing. And if nothing else, too, for the spousal daily proof of life.
Yeah.
Hi, honey, I'm alive. Sophia's alive. I love you.
Yeah, quick text. Yeah. That's good. Tell us a little bit. I mean, our mom was our third team member. She ran our Facebook account when we would text her little updates and things like that. Who's your shore crew? Like, is it just you, Tim, doing the planning, or do you guys have some background going on? And who's going to help get your boat back?
Yeah, so the boat return, I think we're just going to barge it back,
Great.
was our plan, because it's an easy boat to kind of maneuver that way. Shore crew, I'm kind of easing my wife into I'm making no additional demands currently
Mhm.
because I think it's already a pretty big thing that she's letting me, take off for 2, 3 weeks for my 50th with our oldest daughter. And we do have I have a friend in Victoria who we're staying at his place in Victoria, who's
Great.
gonna, he's able to, drive us around. Mark, who's got a friend who's going to drive us with the trailer and the boat down to Port Townsend. So we've got kind of a hodgepodge of people that we have along the way. So, but we don't have kind of a dedicated mom
I
backup.
I have someone who's gonna do the posts for us,
Oh, great.
social media stuff.
And I guess, our foundation actually has an amazing team that they're keen to post the updates and things like that
Mm.
as things go along. And if we really needed something or needed to get something out there in terms of, they would look after that too. So.
Well, I asked about your biggest hopes. What are your biggest fears for the race?
I would say my biggest fear is we just do all this and we don't make it to Victoria for some
Yeah.
reason,
Oh
like
man.
you've been like thinking about this and planning, and I got the boat, I got been all these kind of schemes and dreams, but that's a reality, we could be part way to Victoria and something big bad happens, and that's it. But even that, I'd say, well, now I've suddenly got 2 weeks of free time in my life, which is uncommon.
Yeah.
I don't fear like something like a shipwreck or something really bad. I think we'd be prepared for those things, and I'm not worried about them. I think we got guardian angels. I think we'll be okay. But that would be kind of my fear, is to do all this excitement and prep and then like fail super early.
We're from near Port Townsend. We felt like for a lot of people who are coming from other places, we were acquainted with the Strait of Juan de Fuca. But in knowing that, we knew that having a 36-hour time limit to get across somewhere like that's the scary part, because people might push themselves to too much, or just that it's a really hairy body of water. It might be the hairiest you cross the whole time. So there was one year when they made a time extension because it was so bad. But anyways, I just validating. I think that's a good point, but it sounds like you guys are prepared. And also, as long as you make it to Victoria, you've got those 3 days. And that's one of the most fun things, is to see everybody running around for the last minute things they didn't think about, which for us was rain jackets. Just so you know, we brought
Hmm.
dry suits, but we forgot rain jackets. It's a good thing to bring rain jackets. We got some in Victoria. So,
That's good.
Marco, do you have any fears?
Yeah, I mean, similar to Tim, like just planning and not being able to go, or not being able to go all the way. I think the mentally prepared for the anything big that happens, but obviously there's surprises always on these kind of trips, so
That's what they're for.
you can't plan for everything. So, but I think being having a posture of preparation, and then just enjoying what we can enjoy, and then dealing with what we need to deal with.
Cool. And I don't want to end it on a fear note. I'd like to do a positive that because I'd like to compare this once we can chat once you guys are done. But what's something you're really looking forward to seeing in the Inside Passage? Because I think afterwards it'll probably be something completely different. But do you have anything in your mind that you really want to see?
I mean, I always love seeing whales. I love
Yeah.
seeing the orcas, the humpbacks, or the Pacific white-sided dolphins. It's always just awe-inspiring to me. And your sunrise or sunset when you're outside, just being immersed out in nature like that for so long. I'm really looking forward to that. I work inside, so the idea of just being outside a ton, it totally appeals to me.
Mm.
I know this sounds crazy, but I want to see the 20-foot swell.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. When your mast disappears, or like when the other boat you're with, the mast disappears, it's something.
I know I mean, it makes me a little like nervous for sure, but I also just like I I know Tim's boat is going to be able to do well in the big seas, so experience some, it doesn't need to be 20, but like 12 foot. That's
Yeah.
good.
See some big stuff.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Those are really, really great answers. I'm coming away from this feeling like you guys have the open-minded embrace of adventure that whatever comes at you, you're going to be ready for. And Tim, I'm honestly trying not to cry because I was thinking like, oh, you'll come back and you'll actually have seen something different. But when I think back, the chance to spend your whole day from sunrise to sunset focused with people that you love on a small boat, that plus the whales is like that gives me chills when I think about that from our trip. So I really love that that's what you brought up. Anything else you guys want to say before we close this thing down?
Oh, I'm excited. I'm excited to do it with Marku and my daughter Sophia, and I'm excited to meet you guys. And I think it's going to be a whale of a time.
Oh, I can't wait for the whales, and this is going to be really fun. Just the 3 days I had with Tim and Sophia already were just they were a joy. So, and Nate, I just want to say thank you for all your good questions and your storytelling too.
Oh, well, thank you guys. I so appreciate getting to know you because now when I see you at the race start, R2A race start is like probably my favorite day of the year, even though it's really, really early. Partially because I don't have to have the anxiety of doing it, but also it's just so fun to see everybody out there and the lead up to it. So I can't wait to meet you guys in person. I do feel kind of a kinship because of the boats and the family stuff. And I
Awesome.
just I know you're gonna have a great adventure and I hope it lives up to all your dreams. So thank you guys for taking the time to share, and thanks for asking some questions about our race. It's still, again, R2AK changes lives.
Yeah.
It will create stories that are vibrant and that you can share for the rest. I mean, it sounds like you've made lots of those, but this is like a really, I don't know, it's a really special one. So, congratulations for being almost ready. And for being planned, for having the plan, and for having a good plan. It really does sound like a good, safe plan. And yeah, again, can't wait to meet you guys in Port Townsend. I hope the rest of your prep goes well.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so
Thank you.
much, Nate.
I have had several items in my fishery supply cart online recently. I haven't pulled the trigger. I'm trying to decide between which new handheld VHF I'm going to buy, but the options are many there at Fisheries. So I haven't pulled the trigger yet. I'm also looking at one of those new fancy spin lock inflatable PFDs. I tried one out recently. Ooh, primo. Doesn't get in the way at all. But maybe a little too high tech for a race boss like me. Who's to say? Hey, Fishery Supply has been supporting us forever. And little might you know, every year the racers get a benefit of this sponsorship because not only are they supporting the race directly, but also the racers get a little discount deal when they register. So if you were on the fence about applying for the 2028 race, just know that that discount might be coming your way. Here's the last interview of the episode. It is a team coming to us from the dusty, dusty desert of Arizona, where sailing is contained to several tiny lakes, But they have done their work. They have gone out to the big waters, and they last year competed in Washington 360, feeling that they are now ready to conquer Race to Alaska. It's Team Desert Drifters.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, good. We got everybody?
Looks like it.
All right, perfect. So the team name, how'd you guys come up with that?
Yeah, so we're an Arizona team. We're like, okay, Arizona, the desert, and then drifters because it sounded good. Then we remembered that the previous team to win the Washington 360 was the High Sea Drifters, and then we were kicking ourselves a little bit, but it was sort of too late at that point.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, was that a Santa Cruz 27
I don't remember.
yellow, or am I confusing the teams? Because I think we were in that one and we renamed them Irritating Yellow Boat if it is them. But
You seem to key in on yellow boats.
oh yeah, of course. It's my favorite. It's my favorite boat color, obviously. You guys, a team of three, your application says you're competitive. It's Clara, isn't it? Is the
Right.
competitive one?
I'm pretty competitive, so I think once we get out there, we're not gonna want to stop. We've been talking about taking breaks and not rushing ourselves, but I think like once we're on the water and can see all the other boats, and we've got a pretty fast boat, so I think we'll be able to keep pace fairly well. So I think we'll be feeling really competitive out there, but we'll see how it goes. We're not the most experienced team by any means, so we'll see what ends up tripping us up.
People can't see your killer instinct eyes, in this. Yeah. And how about the other two? You're just going to keep them in line and
Yeah, we just try and rein in Clara, and yeah.
Yeah, I'm not usually very competitive, but like Clara said last year in the Washington 360, yeah, you kind of get swept up in the excitement and the adrenaline starts pumping, and then all of a sudden, yeah, you start pushing yourself.
so let's talk about that a little bit. So you have a little experience then, right? You sounds like you've done the Washington 360.
I have not. The other two did, so I am
Yeah.
unexperienced. But the other two guys did the race last year. They
And
can talk
how did
about
it go for them?
It was an experience. We did it with our younger brother Sean, who's not racing with us this year. But it was, intense. We got a little bit of everything. I think as you're aware on that course, there's a lot of variety. So yeah, it was a big learning experience, and a big confidence boost. Yeah, definitely don't think we would have been ready for this race if we hadn't done that before.
That was exactly our program. I mean, we were in no way, shape, or form really ready to do the real race. And that inaugural Washington 360 saved us, I think. And were you on the same boat?
We were on Raven, our Corsair 750. She got us through. Stood up to the test. Yeah, did everything we needed to do.
This boat is a Farrier, a smaller version. Like this is like the more updated 24-foot.
Yeah, I believe it's kind of an updated version of the Farrier 25.
Oh, 25. Okay. Not the 27.
No, so it's just under 25 feet long. Looks very similar as far as like shape and hull to the Farrier 25. Pretty small, pretty cozy, but it moves quick.
This boat is named Raven, and does it have any relationship with Son of Raven out of Bellingham?
I believe that is a previous owner of Raven, who we've never had a chance to meet. Raven's, changed hands a couple of times over the years, but I've heard a lot of stories from people, at the Washington 360 last year about racing against Raven back in the day in Anacortes, and then that there is Son of Raven bouncing around there somewhere now.
There's somehow like dog mixes somehow that like Son of Raven is a much larger boat, so I guess we're not going to really worry about how that happened. But so you guys have a little backstory or a little experience in the Northwest. That's good. You've done the Washington 360. Did you have four for Washington 360 or just three?
It was just the three of us.
Okay. And so
Yeah.
how did you did you have a pedal drive? And do you have a pedal drive?
We do, yeah. So we inherited our boat from, or got our boat from team Lost But Don't Care, who did the race to Alaska in 2022 aboard her. And they had designed a kind of dual prop system that we've basically kept. We've replaced a few minor parts and stuff like that, but it's basically the same system. It's worked really well for us so far.
So, okay, so you've actually tested this out. It's not like Lost But Don't Care just kind of gave you their version that didn't work and they came up because I think they're in this race, right?
They are.
This year? Yeah. So you don't have like their one that didn't work.
Then when they were making their current version, they copied ours. So
Well, I guess sometimes there's a little regret.
But no, they had taken it to Alaska and it had worked well there. And then we were able to, it held up all the way through the Washington 360 for us. And so I think we're, it's got some issues and some fragilities. But I think we know how to fix it when it does break, and it's set up in such a way that we can do most of the repairs on the water. So yeah, I think we're pretty confident in it.
We tried everything on our second attempt. We tried to get earbuds that would plug into our VHF, and that didn't work because you still get so much wind noise past the earbuds. It just didn't do the trick. So do you guys have a full electronic suite? Where are you getting your weather?
Yeah, we have a radio on board that we'll be using for the portion of the race where we're outside of cell reception. We also have all the apps and various internet-based weather forecasting that we will use when we can.
Yeah, you have one person in charge of that on the team.
I think we try and distribute those sorts of things among everybody. I mean, I will be keeping an eye on it, but a big thing we've been focusing on, because we are such a small team, is making sure that everyone is sort of involved in the process and engaged at every level. So we want to make sure everyone has been participating in route planning. Everyone's keeping track of the weather. Just because there's not a lot of people to divide the labor between, I guess.
So now you guys are all related somehow. Patrick, you look like you're the father.
Yeah, how'd you guess that? Yeah, I'm the dad, and
so Bailey's oldest, I'm second oldest, and we've got a younger brother who did the Washington 360 last year, and then we've got another little sister as well. But yeah, it's the three of us are all related. Got dad and two of the kids.
So did you draw straws or something, and the two that are not on this call got the lucky cards, or how did that happen?
Or unlucky, yeah. But no, this is kind of Bailey's dream, and we'll follow him on any adventure. So I'm happy to be here. So I'm excited.
That sounds like how my brother got roped in a little bit. It was my idea probably, and then he came along.
I think we make a good team. I think there's some healthy competitiveness. We push each other, but we've also we learned to sail together. We've gone on most of the adventures we've had over the years have been together, so we know how to work together when we have to.
And then as far as positions on the boat, I mean, do you guys, I mean, with team of three, honestly, I got to tell you, I'm a little curious how you're going to do this because we always felt that on our boat, which is a 31, four is almost not enough. So now you guys have done the 360. So how do you put it all together so you're able to continue on?
Well,
As far as just like, oh, go ahead, Dad.
yeah, I mean, four would be great, but unfortunately our boat's pretty small. So, three is kind of the optimal, probably the weight and just from size. But so yeah, we need two people on deck all the time. So it's pretty if somebody's off shift sleeping or whatever, then there's not too much redundancy. So it's we kind of ran into that last year in the race, whereby the last couple days we were pretty wiped out. But yeah, it was.
Yeah. And when you're doing that, what was your rotation? So are you rotating everybody through every single position or
Yeah, so we were doing 8 hours on, 4 hours off, and then while you were on deck, you were basically swapping out every probably hour from different positions. But we were doing a lot of pedaling. So, the way our pedal drives are set up is that both people can pedal and then somebody can hold the tiller. And then if somebody's got to jump up and, you know, do something with the sails, then they can do it. But it's a great setup, but yeah, there's not a lot of room for extra hands.
yeah, it does look like you guys there's the cockpit is within arm's reach and the tiller is within arm's reach when you're on your bikes, which that seems like that's a great idea because that drops the need to have someone steer. You can steer from the bike.
Yeah,
And
we'll have to
then
give credit to the guys that designed it, John and Pat and Adam from Lost But Don't Care. But yeah, they get the credit for all the engineering on that. But
does their new version have a flywheel?
they said they've made, they're doing the 7048. So they've done some new stuff to it. So I have not seen the latest and greatest design, but it sounds pretty amazing.
I'm just and when you guys used this system before, did you hate the flat spot that happens with the single person, single prop? Or do you feel that that's not really an issue? You two have young knees. Dad has older knees.
I didn't think it was too much of an issue. It has a pretty consistent, push all the way through. I mean, there's a little bit of a drop, but it wasn't super aggressive. And if you made sure not to, we can position our seats well enough that you don't, hyperextend your knees or, push too far.
Sounds cool. Do you have to do any other modifications after your Washington 360 run? Like, did you decide to change anything up, or you think you have it pat?
I think
No, I think everything worked great. We had to replace a couple sails that got pretty shredded and during the last race.
Did
But
you get
otherwise, yeah.
caught in that storm that as you're coming down from the San Juans?
Yeah, we got hammered. We were feeling pretty good about ourselves up until we rounded the point at Point Roberts. We were running the Spinnaker. It was pretty calm, and we thought we were going to be back in Port Townsend by lunch, and all of a sudden we got hit by some pretty heavy winds and waves, and it was a rough go from there.
So when it gets to that point, who is steering the boat?
Bailey.
Bailey. Okay, he's the high wind guy. So then that leads me to my next question, because I mean, honestly, you guys had the most confusing application picture I've ever seen. It's a picture of your boat. You appear to be on a broad reach. You have a full jib up, third reef in the main. The boom is sheeted on center line. The water is dead flat. and someone's pedaling. So I was like, maybe that's either AI or maybe they're like in
Uh,
some kind of transition
Bailey, you can
or
explain that.
or I don't know. And so like
we were trying to get into Friday Harbor. I think Clara took that picture from the shore.
so plausible deniability for Clara.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
But that was after that night, and we ended up ducking into Friday Harbor to kind of wait out the storm. And so there was a cross current, and the wind was coming right off the dock, and we were trying to sail as close in as we could get while dodging seaplanes and ferry boats. There was a lot going on around that led to that sort of confusing setup.
So you got your helm and the heavy weather, that's Bailey. Most all-around experienced person, who would that be?
That's Bailey.
That's Bailey, also Bailey.
Yeah,
Who's
we
your team
didn't
cap?
really grow up, obviously, as you probably guessed, we grew up in Arizona. Didn't, like most of the podcasts I hear, everybody's like, oh, I grew up near the ocean, sailing, all this, and we really didn't have that luxury growing up here. So yeah, we probably seriously got into sailing about 5 years ago, but Bailey for sure has the most experience on the boat.
So I mean, I can only go by what I see on the Instagram and your rumors and kind of the communication between high command and the interviewers is like a combination between a Ouija board and a seance. But one of you pitch pulled a boat.
We have not pitch pulled the boat. We met a guy at the Boat Haven parking lot who claimed to have pitch pulled our boat back in the day at some point. This was one of those people who came along and recognized Raven, and yeah, seemed to have a history.
Did he have any clues, any tips for you? Ideas?
I don't think he gave us any advice other than maybe don't pitch pull.
Yeah.
But it was funny. It was cool seeing our boat's history and all the places it's been over the years.
Yeah. And it totally proves that you can flip it, which is great. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, the
they got it
flipping,
back somehow. Yeah.
yeah, and survivable. And yeah, you're upside down, you're floating around. Does that one have the multi-hull escape hatch? Or do you guys just take the Sharpie and draw the dash line on the inside of the hull and have like an axe taped to it?
That's a good
That would
idea.
probably be a good idea. Yeah, it does not have an escape hatch, and that was something I was thinking about when we got caught out in the storm that night. Like, I don't know, don't want to have someone below in this. Yeah, maybe we should put a hatchet down there,
Yeah.
a chainsaw or something.
So I don't know anything else about your boat? Anything else you're excited about your boat?
Um, yeah, I mean, I love our boat. It's it's like they mentioned, it's easy to sail. We can handle it pretty well with two. It's yeah, very cozy and not super luxurious. But I think more than up to, it has stood up to everything we've put it through so far. Yeah. Any
Are,
other?
are you guys sleeping inside or are you sleeping out on the nets like Tips Up and Mad Dog?
We had
Uh,
one like sleeping mat on the inside the cabin because we have like the racing version, so the cabin's kind of extra small and the cockpit's bigger. So yeah, there's a room for one person down there with our gear to kind of like crawl in there and um, but yeah, your head's about 6 inches from the top of the cabin as we found out, when you got bounced around in there, you definitely felt it.
Yeah. So, well, Clara, now that you've had a chance to hang out and listen to these two talk a little bit, I'm sure you've been mulling on this, sibling and family relationship thing. And, I've had my son on our boat for these races and my brother on these races. And which one of those two is going to crack first, you think?
Um, that's a tough one. I think it depends on the situation, but probably maybe my dad, just because I feel like Bailey is pretty steady out there, but it's a tough
Definitely.
choice. I feel like they're
Definitely.
both pretty sound, but I think
I'm not as young as these guys.
yeah, I haven't done any trip like this with either of these people though, so I'm kind of excited to see how it goes. I might come back with a different opinion of them, but yeah, I've only done short trips. All my longer expeditions have been with like other groups of people, so it'll be cool to see how we do after being on the small boat for a week or so.
Yeah. I think it's incredible. I think you guys are going to do great. A family vibe I think is awesome because the communication is a lot easier. I think, if you're sailing with friends you've been sailing with a long time and you have a family connection, it makes for a little bit more of a shorthand kind of communication and a pretty strong bond. I mean, you do see some crews that, have, I think there was one that was filmed actually, where they kind of fell apart halfway up and they got mad at each other and one guy left. And I don't see that for you guys, do you?
No, I think we'll
I
hang in
don't think so. I mean, last year we had Sean on board, and he was super great to have. But Clara is gonna fit in and be awesome too. So I don't know. I think we've been together enough where I'm not worried about that.
Yeah. You're also like Team Rough Duck in that when we did our first R2AK, we had never been north of Haro Strait hardly. I think we'd been up to the San Juans in the boat, Gulf Islands in the boat, and had no idea what
Yeah.
things were going to be like.
No,
Even
I'm
even
nervous. We're like I said, we're pretty novice sailors. We've been working pretty hard the last 3 or 4 years, but yeah, you can't ever replace actual experience. So we're
yeah.
looking forward to that.
Do you have any advice on how to make decisions like in new scenarios that we haven't really seen before? Like we're doing our as much as we can to prepare and know the area, but how can we, yeah, make the best decisions in the moment?
Just, hash it out, compare it to how you're feeling. And, our team was always such that if we weren't feeling good, we just stopped. And we did that a bunch. And so, and that's a great thing about this race. I mean, it's, I've talked about this in other interviews, but, it's almost as if you can dial the adventure, right, to exactly fit how you feel at the moment, right? So, yeah, just, listen to each other and all that.
I'm curious, since you said you hadn't been up past the Haro Strait before the race, what were you guys looking at to prepare before? Like, what were other than just talking to people and stuff? Like, what did you do to familiarize yourself and make sure you were ready?
I feel like I don't want to talk about this. Um, you ever see those people on the news that it's like they like buy a boat, they don't know what they're doing, and then somehow they survive? I mean, it was a little bit like that. We got the charts and, so we did the research on the routes. We were pretty diligent about, reviewing the topography enough that we knew kind of where likely bailout spots were, and we kept track of those, as we went north, both in front of us and then, behind us. But we didn't really uh, probably do as much preparation as we wanted to. We didn't learn enough about the weather and the weather patterns. We just kind of like, we did the Washington 360, learned a ton. Did the R2AK one time, didn't make it past Johnstone Strait. And honestly, I think that attempt would have been easier had we done it before, because that first time up through, there's some pretty big distances and some pretty crazy, crazy cool terrain and conditions and things like that. It's just very big. And so, that puts you in a certain mindset, right? So we were very cautious the first time. And then the second time we did it, we were more comfortable, right? So, and again, that kind of goes back to that dial-in adventure. So, if I would look at the weather patterns a little bit, talk to people about that, take a look at the charts for sure. And then, just go do it. You guys have any other things you want to get off your chest? Irritations of the application process, anything like that?
Yeah, lots of grievances.
No, I mean, I think we're super appreciative to you guys for putting on this race and helping. And I don't know if we didn't mention it, but we applied in 2024 and got denied. The race committee didn't feel we were experienced enough, and and that was pretty hard. And we decided to come up anyway, so we came up. So shortly after everybody left for the race, we took off and sailed for about 10 days up all around the area, and came back last year and did the Washington 360, and then reapplied this year and luckily got in. But I just want to say, to the committee and Jesse, I know that's a hard job, and we totally respect their decision, and it was the right one because we probably weren't ready. And I think we'll probably never feel 100% ready, but we're a lot more ready now. And we, that was probably a good call on their part, and we respect that.
Well, I think you guys are going to do fine, and you just keep in mind that people have been going up and down this coast in canoes for thousands and thousands of years, and so just be safe, make good decisions. Be comfortable, have fun. I was freaked out. They had a bar event, like a little party pre-race. And at that point, my nerves were just like starting to amp up. And I was worried about it because, I'd never been again up past, in that territory. A little bit. I've been in some spots, but not like this. And I talked to Team Oracle, and Team Oracle really kind of walked me off the ledge because, they're basically saying, what's the big deal? You go if the weather's nice, and, stop if you're not feeling comfortable. Stop early, take a break. Nothing does, good for the nerves more than, a little bit of rest. So, yeah. And
Thank you.
there are lots of holes up there to, go hang out in.
Well, thank you very much. Really appreciate you guys reaching out and making this happen. We've been enjoying it, been enjoying the podcasts. It's been a fun to hear from everybody. But yeah, be a little familiar with everyone by the time we show up in Port Townsend. Thank you guys so much.
All right, no problem. Clara, take care of those guys. Looks like they need help.
I'll try.
See ya.
All right, good day.
Bye. See you.
All right.
That's it for this episode. We are quickly approaching the end of the 2026 podcast season to make room for the 2026 actual race. So stay tuned for the next few weeks as we crank out the last couple. And for the remainder of the teams we weren't able to get to in this medium, go to r2ak.com. All 72 teams are now up on the web. Check them out. Get excited. Make your plans to come here, and we will see you on race day.